What's the difference between homeschooling, unschooling, and deschooling? They might sound similar, but choosing the wrong one can make learning a lot harder than it needs to be. And when you try to figure it out, you scroll, you read, but somehow you still feel confused. And without real clarity, it's easy to feel like you're winging it, or even messing things up entirely. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what each term really means and how to figure out which you should be doing, so you leave with more confidence, clarity, and less energy wasted wondering if you're getting it all wrong. First of all, these three terms, homeschooling, deschooling, and unschooling, matter more than you might think, because they aren't just words. They're each whole new ways of looking at education. Each one shifts how learning feels, its rhythm, its tone, its tempo, and how it happens. If your model doesn't match your moment, everything gets harder. Let's start with the most familiar term, homeschooling. Here's where the confusion really starts, because especially in the US, people use homeschooling in two ways. Some people use it to mean any learning at home. Others use it more specifically to describe a structured, school-like method. It's what most people think of. Subjects, structure, lessons, just done at the kitchen table instead of a classroom. It's school at home. Most people's first instinct is to recreate school at home because it's the only model of learning they've ever known. But when you try to replicate school at home with rigorous timetables and fixed curricula, it often doesn't feel right. And most kids just don't like being taught by their parents anyway. I've seen so many parents start there and end up tense, frustrated, and disconnected from their kids. The trap is that recreating school at home often leads to stress and resistance. The second term answers the question, what if you threw out the curriculum entirely and let your child lead? That's unschooling. So instead of structure and schedules, unschooling leans into freedom and trust. It's child-led, unstructured, and rooted in lived experience rather than textbooks and timetables. From the outside, it can look chaotic or like children aren't learning anything, but you might already be unschooling without even realizing it. If your days follow play and curiosity more than workbooks, you're probably closer than you think. Unschooling is how I home educate. It's how I was raised, and it's what I do now with my own kids. I also help parents shift towards unschooling, and almost every time it brings more ease, stronger connection, and more aliveness. The trap, though, is if you lean into freedom without letting go of school-based expectations, unschooling can feel like neglect instead of nurture, and that can feel terrifying if all you know are rigid classrooms. And that's where deschooling comes in. Homeschooling and unschooling sit at opposite ends of a spectrum, rigorous and structured versus flexible and free. But there's a step before either, unlearning what school taught you about learning. How it looks, how it happens, and what you need to do to make it happen. That's what deschooling is. Letting go of school-based thinking for both you and your child, and creating space to reconnect with each other and settle their nervous system. The trap? Skipping this phase sets you up to struggle with any other approach. So once you know the terms, how do you tell which you should actually be doing? If you've just left school, start with deschooling. About 1 month for every year spent in school, sometimes more if stress is high. Even without that history, if tension's up and learning feels forced, you're still in this phase. If stress is low for both you and your child, and their curiosity is high, you're probably already unschooling. That's the natural state of learning. Any structure from here should come by request or by mutual agreement. If homeschooling's a knee-jerk reaction because you think learning can't happen without it, you haven't fully deschooled yet. But if it's by choice, to meet a goal, prepare for an exam, or simply because you thrive on routine, then it's the right tool for your family. Follow curiosity and only add structure when it actually helps. Choosing your approach is the easy part. Trusting your kids are really learning without lessons is where most parents panic. So in this next video, I'll show you the brain-based secret that makes unschooling, even reading and maths, far simpler than you'd expect.